Okay, so we're on Daf Samach Beis Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top. Samach, what did I just say? Samach Beis Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top. Again, we've been talking about the sugya of whether an amoret is whether an amoret is believed or not for maisras, for making truma tameh, etc., etc. Right? So, hey, Rav Yosef ben Meshulam, Meshum Rav Yochanan Achiv, Shomer Meshum Rav Elazar ben Chasma, Ein Oisin Chalas Amoretz B'Tahara. You're not allowed to make challah, right? It doesn't mean challah like what we know of challah, right? But it means you're not allowed to make. I mean, it does mean challah like we make challah. It means to separate the challah, right? With an amoretz. You're not allowed to do an amoretz. Aval Oisin Isas. Isas chulav b'tahara, but you're allowed to do chulin b'tahara, right? Meaning you're allowed to use flour that belonged to an amoretz for your chulin. V'noitel amenu k'dei challah, and then you take challah from it. Right? Umenicha be'kfisha oiban chusa. This is one of the chidushim here. And then you take that challah and you put it into chafisha or an chusa. What are those? Those are kalim that are made out of like broken material, right? And memela, they're not makabel tumah. Those kalim are not makabel tumah. So even if the amoretz, when he's tameh, touches it, it's still not going to become tameh. Meaning, if he just touches the outside, ukshaba amoretz litol, and when an amoretz comes to take it, no, Naftali, you got to mute. Naftali, you got to mute. Naftali, you got to mute. We got a cover for parrots on all fronts over here. Oh. Yeah. All right. Ukashaba amoretz litol. Right, and when the amoretz comes to take it, noitel eshtein, he takes both. Bein chayshish, and we're not chayshish that he is going to touch it. Meaning he can take the regular dough, chulin, and the challah, and we're not chayshish for anything. That's case number one. Bein oisin truma zesa b'tara. You're not allowed to use truma, olives that are made out of truma, with an amoretz. You can't use it. You can't use an amoretz's olives. Aval oisin zeis of chulin b'tar, but you're allowed to use olives of chulin. Same din. Just one is talking about grain, challah, flour, and the second case is talking about olives. So noitel amenu k'dei truma. Then you take away the truma from the olives, and you put it into the kalim of the chaver. Right, now, that's the only difference between the first and second case. In the first case, you put it into these kalim that were broken, that were makabel tumah. Here, he's saying you put it to the kalim of the chaver. Right? And Taisa says the reason for this is, the reason why he didn't have to say kfisha banchusa, I guess, for some reason, they put the olives into wood utensils that didn't have, they were pshute kliates. Sort of like, what do you call those boards that everybody's busy with the meat? Charcuterie board or something, yeah. Or a meat. A liquid board, very good. We're the board, yes. The people that are bored, that are busy with the boards, right? So those, I guess you put the olives down on those type of boards. It's not makabel tumah because there's no kli there. It's just a flat piece of wood. When the amoretz comes to take it, noitel eshtein ve'en chayshish, then you could take both, right? And then there's no chashash whatsoever. So basically, they're both saying the same din, that for the truma part, it would be a problem. For the regular chulin, it would be no problem. And we put it into special utensils that wouldn't become tummy. So for time of mai, what's the reason for this? Why are we being mekel? I'm sorry, that was kedi, was a different gemara. The reason is because the guy that's kneading the dough, KNEA, the one that's, not grinding, but the one that's making the dough, that's his livelihood, right? Because it's the livelihood of the guy that presses the olives for oil. So since this is their livelihood, we want to make sure that there's a way for them to do business, even with chaverim, even with people that keep the tahara, right? But we're going to do it in a way that they're not going to make it tummy by putting it into separate utensils. Okay, so that was his gemara. So why do you need to say two cases? One by olives and one by flour. Tiyash min gavel mishum delay nafish agri. A gavel, he doesn't get paid too much, right? So therefore, we got to give him enough. We got to give him as much parnas as we can. Aval badad the nafish gagri, but a badad, I guess for whatever reason, a guy that presses olives got paid a lot more money. So maybe he has a good salary, a malay. So maybe we don't have to be so worried to give him business. V'yashmin a badad, and if you say it's a badad, mishum delay shchiachle, because it's not so common, right? Meaning the olive pressing is not. It's not when you have. Rashi says you have one. How many times a year do you already have the what do you call it? That's not a vintage of olives. What's it called for? I don't know what there's a name for olives. It's harvest. I guess a harvest. It's not so you don't have the harvest the whole year round. So maybe we got to make when he has the harvest, we got to make sure he gets himself business. Aval gavel the shchiach. But a gavel, you have to need flour from the stomach that was done every day. A malay, so maybe he doesn't need the business so much. So tzricha, that's why we need it. That's why we need to make sure that we give both of them parnasa and we pull this type of shtick. So Amar, I don't know if it's a shtick, but a way to do it with an amaret. Amar, chala. So you take chala, umenicha bekfisha oiban chusa, and you put it into these broken utensils that are not makabel tumah. Ukshaba amaretz lito, when the amaretz comes to take it, noitel and he takes both, and we're not chayshish. So the Gemara asks, so why aren't we afraid that he's going to touch it? I mean, yes, you're putting it into utensils that don't become tummy. Fine. But maybe he's going to touch the actual olives, right? And we said an amoret has tumah. So how do we know that he's not going to actually touch it? Right? So Damrinan lay, could we say to him, Chazi I nagapa hadra. By the way, we tell him, if you touch this, it's going to go back to Tevel. Meaning he's involved in taking off the truma, and now it's not truma because not tevel because he took off the truma. We tell him, by the way, be careful. You're an amoret. You're not makbid on the truma and tara, and if you're going to touch it, you're going to have a problem. So then the Gemara asks, maybe he doesn't care. Like, well, the whole point is that amoret doesn't care. That's what we were saying in the last plot. The amoret doesn't care, so maybe he doesn't care. Our answer is he's sitting here trying to fix the dough and help the guy out. You're going to say that he doesn't care? Of course he's going to care. So we're not worried about him not caring. Fine. So the Gemara says, truma. So you take the truma and you put it into the utensils that belong to the chaver. And when the amoret comes, you take both, meaning the regular and the truma. Is no chashash. So when I ask, why aren't we afraid that he's going to touch it? Bishlam mahasam, so it's good by the chala isle hakera. There's a heker, right? Because they warned him, right? They warned him, don't do it, otherwise it's going to go back to tevel. Hachamai hakera isle. What kind of heker is there by the olives? Right? Meaning, even if you're going to say that you put it into a kli cheres, that's not makabel tumah, right? But how do you know that he's not going to stick his hands inside the kli and touch it? So when it answers the monachle bekli glalim, bekli avonim, bekli adama. It's talking about where you put it into kli glalim, that's made out of feces, or kli avonim, stone, or kli adama. So the amoretz doesn't usually use these. So by putting it to these kalim, that's going to remind him, oh, there's something weird about these kalim, therefore I'm not allowed to touch it. So that's going to act as a reminder, which we would be remiss without saying this is today's Parshas Tfilas Kalim, right? In Parshas Matas, when they got back from Midian, so that's where we have Tfilas Kalim is only metal. So you get into the whole sugya, do you have to toivel China? Right? Do you have to toivel China or not? Because China is Ba'atzim Cheres, which is not Makabel Tumah. Right? The problem is it's glazed. So they put like a layer of glass. So does it not need? Really the main part of it does not need. It's kli cheres. Right? But that's a shas. And the most, Ramosha says it doesn't need tefillah. But it seems like the majority of poskim nowadays say it does need tefillah, even though it's klei galolim, klei avonim, klei adoma that are not makabel tumah. But since they put that glaze on it, so you don't make a bracha, that's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't the OU say that they don't have to pay for glass?
Do they? Maybe for caterers, are they make-up for caterers? Because caterers have an additional.
I think for caterers they don't make them. I can check for sure. I think they don't make them fiberglass.
Because caterers have an additional cooler that it's for them. It's business. It's not klei achila, which we don't paskin like. He's on, but we don't paskin like that. But it could be that together with a tziruf, they say it's glazed, and many parts will hold you don't need. So it could be that they hold that. Parrots, I'm recording on my phone. Meanwhile,
recording in progress.
All right, I'll stop the recording now.
Sorry, man. I tried.
All right, I'll stop the recording now.
Sorry, man. I tried to get on. Whatever. Couldn't get on from mommy's phone.
But how does one eat from something that he didn't toivel? So good he had a head. What does that have to do with me?
Yeah, it's gonna good kasha, Baron. That's why it's a major cooler. That's why it's a major cooler.
What do you mean, Abba? They did it by Corona when everybody got the
Baruch Hashem, there's no corona.
Don't say the word corona. That's a different situation.
Yeah, so he's saying, not he. I'm saying the OU, if they hold this, right? That meaning caterers and restaurants, for them, who owns the kli? The owner of the kli is the owner of the restaurant and the caterer. For them, it's a kli for business. You're using their kli, but for them, they're not chayiv to toivel it.
No, my friend's asking, what does that have to do with me?
What happens?
No, but let's say, what's that?
So
okay,
what happens? He takes these dishes in his house, and then you go to him for kiddush.
No, that's fair.
Anybody who owns a restaurant or a catering house probably has the same dishes in his house.
I've seen that, Rabbaran. And another thing that I remember catering is a lot of the caterers, they have a shutuf in the dishes, or they sell it to the guy. They have all kinds of things they do so that they don't have to tovel it.
I don't understand. You go to a restaurant, you don't have to tovel the dishes. The dishes don't have to be toveled.
That's what he's saying.
There are makilim. Most kashrus places hold that you have to, but with, I think what Yoni means is that with that it's a whole shiloh whether it needs tefillah in the first place. Plus, there's paiskim that say that if it's business, if it's for you, it's for business, then memela, it's as a combination. They don't. I don't know if that's a policy or not.
But my friend's asking, what does that have to do with me personally? I'm eating from these dishes.
No, man, let's say you go to a goyish a hotel. You're allowed to eat on the dishes, right? They weren't toivel.
It belongs to a guy.
I was happy I forced you into making that comparison, Yaakov, that a Yiddish restaurant owner has the same dinner as a guy.
What should I tell you? What do
you mean? It's owned by a guy. It's not owned by a Yid.
If it doesn't have to be tovel, then then it's okay to eat on it. If it doesn't have to be tovel.
It's owned by a guy. It doesn't have to be tovel. If it's owned by a Yid, it does have to be tovel.
No, if it's owned by a Yid in a matzav that he doesn't need to tovel it. It's in a matzav he doesn't need to tovel it. Right? He shouldn't. If it's potter, it's potter.
Well, it's potter for a caterer not to tovel it? No.
What? Yes, potter, there are shittas that hold that it is.
Zev, that's what he's saying. That caterer's poisik says he doesn't have to cater. He doesn't have to tovel, so he doesn't have to tovel. No. So
now again, it's very schwer for a caterer to be someone that is a big cooler. But in combining with that earthenware kalim, like we're learning right here in our Gemara, that earthenware kalim are not makabel tumah. Oh, they have a little layer of glass, so that's already a stark suffix whether you need tefillah at all on that. So memela with the two, they'll say you don't have to. It's a big avodah. Erev Yom Tov, you have this big Pesach program, and you got to toivel a lot of dishes. It's a major tircha if the whole thing is a suffix in the first place. I'm not saying that but once it becomes a caterer, it adds on an additional layer. But stam a caterer who owns a restaurant, that's a big cooler, not to toivel his glasses and stuff like that. It would be a big cooler. Right?
They're taking $4 million. They'll figure out how to toivel.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so that's fine. So then that's where we leave. Okay, so my area to cover. If that's the case, and you're putting it into special utensils, then what do you have to put into it? And the special utensils, the amaret, before he touches it, says, "Hey, 1 second, I can't touch it. It's in these weird kalim. Oh, I'm not. They're in these weird kalim because I'm not supposed to touch it. So then let him even put into his own kalim. Let him put into the amaret's, right? So hanami ka'amar the kalim shel amaretz haruyin l'shtamish behen chaver. We're talking about in the kalim amaretz that a chaver can use it with, right? Meaning it doesn't have to mean that the kalim are for a chaver. Kalim are not makabel tumah, which means he could use them together with the chaver. Yeah, fine. Okay, that's the harder part of the daf. Now we get into another interesting dinim. Machzikin yidei akum b'shviyas. So you could be machzik and akum b'shviyas, meaning you're allowed to be mechazikim and tell him, you're a good guy. So machzikin, you're actually allowed to help them. You're not allowed to dig together with the guy in Shemitah. And you're not allowed to say shalom twice to a guy, meaning say shalom, shalom. Right? We'll get back to that in a minute. But the point is that this Brisa says, or Rav Dimi says, that you're not allowed to help them during Shviyas. Right? So the Gemara says, no, we need it. What it means is, you're not actually helping him. You're telling him, be strong, right? Or something like that. Like, hey, hang in there, or you should have, right? You could have what's it called? You could have, have it easy. You know what I mean? Like that. Rav Yehuda, Amar lahu achzuku. Rav Yehuda would tell the Goyish farmers they should have strength. Rav Sheshes Amar lahu ashrasa, right? That they should also have some sort of strength.
What is?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I must have missed something. What is going on?
The Mishnah says you're allowed to be machzik yidei goyim working the land on Shemitah. You know what I'm saying? Are you ever allowed to be machzik?
They're working land in Eretz Yisrael.
But goyish land, their own land
that they own.
That they own, yes.
Oh, so it's like Shmuel David said, they're potter from Shviyah, so the same way like the caterers potter. So what's the big problem?
Right. So it seems like because it's in Karka of Eretz Yisrael, so Mamela, you're not supposed to tell them to be. That's why I understand it. Mamela, you're not supposed to tell them to have an easy time with it, right? Yeah, that's what I'm understanding it. So, and then the second part is that you're not allowed to say "Ve'ein koiflim." That's the next Gemara. But by the way, we get into this whole sugya. Is there such a thing, right? We had this a couple of weeks ago. Is there such a thing as the guy owning Karka Eretz Yisrael to pater you from Shemitah? Obviously, anybody who holds up the het mechira goes with the poskim that say that it's mutter, right? But not everybody agrees to that. That's the first issue with the whole mechira of Eretz Yisrael, that it may not even help because the guy has to keep Shemitah. Obviously, this Gemara is going without that, not like that Shita. Fine. Then they said, "Ain't kaifel shalom lechem." You can't be kaifel shalom, right? So we'll see. So what is the Gemara? Maybe Rav Chisda would run and say shalom to goyim, so that he didn't have to say shalom shalom. What does this mean? Meaning, we know that there's a din that if somebody greets you, right, it's mamash for a kutvach. Yeah, David, it's pasher for this thing here, right? At least we skip 2 blocks. We have it on, right? When somebody says kutvach, what are you supposed to answer? Kutvach kutyara. You're supposed to be ma'aseh. So at least, you're supposed to add on a bracha. So if the guy would give you shalom, so you have to answer back, shalom, shalom. Right? So Mamela, he didn't want to do that. Because
where do we know that you have to add on something?
Huh?
Where do we know that you have?
Yeah, I looked through the Makar today. It's not like I have lots of svarim, right? But I couldn't find it. I thought it was beferish that you're supposed to always give back You're always supposed to answer back with more. You anybody remember the source for this? I don't know. I couldn't remember what the source was, but that's clearly this Gemara obviously is a source.
It may be in brachas.
I looked. I don't know. I couldn't find it, but this Gemara is certainly a source for it. That the reason why Rav Chisda jumped to say shalom to the Goyim before they said to him is like this. He didn't have to say shalom to them, right? So you see that you're supposed to answer.
I just
back.
know the Ma'aser of Yosef Chaim. That's all, but it's not a right.
What's that? With the which Ma'aser is that?
The good vach, good yar. The week was the week with the two Yidden said to him, "Good vach, Rebbe." So he said, "Good vach, good yar," and he continued walking. Then they hear Stecken coming behind them, and it's Rabbi Yosef Chaim because it was the week of Rosh Hashanah. So he wished them less than they wished him on. Because Rosh Hashanah was Wednesday night, so they said a good vach. He said a good yar. It was only 2 more days, so he was trying to chase them to give them another bracha.
Right. But right. Yeah, that was when good vach. Right when Rosh Hashanah.
They said
fell
good
out,
vach, Rebbe, and he said good vach, good yar. But Rosh Hashanah was in the middle of the week.
Right, so that's most time. That's most of the time, right? I thought it was.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, but he was vinching them on less than they vinched him on. So
it was that week. So saying good yor didn't mean anything because he already said good luck. So he had to get for the next week. That's the running after that.
My shver is not there, Rosh Hashanah. You give me a good yard 2 days before the end of the year, I'll take it gladly.
There you go. Oh, now that's almost it.
It's still a bracha.
That's almost it. Yeah. Anyways, okay, but that's.
I was friends with your shver way before you were, Yoni.
Who told you he was friends with his shver?
I didn't say he was or he wasn't. He's not. He's not you. What are you opening your mouth for?
Rav Kahana Amarle. So this next one's a very interesting one. Rav Kahana said he used to say Shalom Lamar, Shalom to my master, meaning he didn't want to give Shalom to the guy. So Rashi says when he said Shalom Mar, Shalom my master, peace my master, you tell the guy. He meant peace to my master, meaning to his Rebbe. He didn't mean to bless the guy. Right? It made it look like he's blessing the guy, but he was blessing his Rebbe. To which Taisus, the bottom Taisus asks, Genevas das. Right? Right, look at Taisus, the bottom Taisus Kedai, because people think whatever it is, Genevas das is mutter with Goyim. Taisus asks, Pirish, Bekonscious, his heart was to his Rebbe. Right? Because it's Genevas das. The Gemara Taisus of Achina Pirish came He's not saying, he's just saying that Shalom Lamar is not pshat because he didn't want to give a bracha. He didn't mind giving, right? He just didn't want to say it twice, which you can't do. Right? So actually Shulchan Aruch says, Paskins like this, you cannot say the Shalom to a guy. But the Shulchan Aruch does say that it could very well be that this is for goyim that are really over there with the Zara. Those that are not over there with the Zara, which is most goyim nowadays, then it's not an issue. Okay, fine. B'shayin b'shleimin, and you're allowed to say shalom to goyim. So the Gemara asks, you just said that you're allowed to be machzik them, which we said doesn't mean to actually help them. It means to just give them support, give them some emotional support. So shayin b'shleimin b'bay. So of course you're allowed to ask them how they're doing. Right? Some Rav Yeva, come out on their holiday. The Tanya, a person should not go into the house of a guy on his holiday, but and give him shalom. Right? Why not? Because if the Yid comes into his house on his holiday and says hello to him, then he is going to be so happy he might go thank his God. Matzu b'shuk, but if you find him in the street, nice and light b'safa rafa with kavod reish, you can give him shalom, but it should be in a Literally means a loose, a soft lip, and with a heavy head. Right? Means you should give it to him, but like mail it in a little bit. Right? Now that's that's in Yonah the Yoma, because that's the way you're supposed to answer. If somebody, you're not supposed to say good morning on Tisha B'Av. If somebody wishes you a good morning, so you're supposed to say like exactly what it says here. I think that's even the lashon. I don't know if it's exactly the lashon. Safa Rafa Kovid Rosh. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
So are we allowed today for business purposes to send the guy a text or something, a merry holiday or anything like that?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Pashtus is that you should not. If you have to.
What about if you see him, you're walking into a building, a security guard? Not say happy holiday. What are you supposed to say? Nothing. You should say nothing. In it.
Well, he's working. He's working on his holiday. He's obviously a goyish guy.
Oh, so no, so that's negel, what we said before. If you're not if they're not oiv, they avoid the zara, which most are not nowadays, then it's not nearly as bad.
No, I'm saying, but not nearly as bad. I mean, you should not do it. You should. But
if you can avoid saying happy holidays, certainly you should.
Could you say good morning?
Well,
or you shouldn't even. You should avoid saying.
The question is good morning a shayla shalom? Is good morning a shayla shalom?
But what about like darche shalom? You just ignore them. That's not. They're not going to like.
What about darche?
Nice.
Well, a lot of people. I don't see a lot of people mechal Shabbos, right? Because of darche shalom. If a guy calls about Salah, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I don't know what all the places come home.
No, but so good. So suffer rafa, kovid rosh means you say it, but don't say it with hazah.
What is? Okay, yeah.
Right. That's what. That's basically what you should do if you don't have a choice. So you say it, but don't do it this besimchadik way. Yeah. Fine.
What's the reason? Because of the Zara today?
We're afraid that they're going to go, well, saying shalom is an issue. Right? Saying shalom.
Why? Because of avoid Zara today? What's the issue today?
No, so thank you for reminding me. So some Mefarshim say that the problem with saying shalom is that's Hashem's name. You want to greet him twice, that's no problem. Shalom is one of Hashem's names. So to use the word shalom to greet a guy, that you shouldn't do. If you have to say shalom once, fine, but to say it twice, you shouldn't do.
The good morning is not.
Good morning is not shalom, right? So many Mefarshim and Shulchan Aruch say to say good morning is not an issue. It's just not to use the word shalom. Don't say shalom, right? Yeah. So thank you for reminding me that. Yeah, that would have been an important point that I didn't say. Okay. Zok the Gemara weiter. Rav Huna Rav Chisda Havayasi. We had a similar Gemara a while ago. Rav Huna Rav Chisda was sitting. Chalaf also Geniva. So Geniva was walking by. Amalei Chad Lechavri Nekam Mekamei the Bar Urian who get up because he's a learned fellow. Amalois, he said to him, Mekamei Halgon Nekam, should we get up in front of somebody who's a Baal Machlokes? Right? Because we had way back in the beginning with Sechta, he started up, Rashi brings it, he started up with Mar Ukva. So since this guy's a Baal Machlokes, he's supposed to stand up for a Baal Machlokes. Meanwhile, while they were declaring whether they should stand up for him or not, he came by. Amalahu, Shama Alaikum Malke, Shama Alaikum Malke. So he used the double lashon. He said, Shalom to you, kings, Shalom to you, kings. Amalim in Allah. The Rabbanan Ikru Malachim. How do you know that the Rabbanan that you call Rabbanan kings? Amalu Dichsiv be Malachim Yibleichu. Through be means be with me or through me, but the kings will be kings. Right? So Mela, that sounds like learned people. Amrulay, we're not after Kaflin and Shamal Amapi. And how do you know you're supposed to say Shalom twice to kings? Amrulud, Amrav Amarav, Shalom. How do you know you say Shalom twice to a king? Shenemar, the Ruach, Lavsha, Samasai, Rosh Hashalishim, and there was this ruach around that was around or worn by Amasai, the head of the shalishim, of the officers, right? And so that's why he called him. He said a double lashon. Amalei. So they said to him, "Litayim marmid." He said, "Eat something." Right? Meaning they had to declare whether they should stand up for him, but they offered him something to eat. It's also for a person to taste anything until he gives food to his behemoth. And I gave food to the animals in the fields. And then it says, so since I guess he had not yet fed his animals, so therefore he told him he can't do it. Right? So that's okay. What that has to do with anything, I don't know. But yeah, I guess he didn't feed his animals, so therefore he said he cannot eat. Now you see that yud there, or those that haven't asked us, it's a major din here. It says it changes from the word sheyitim, because the Gemara says it's also to taste food before your animal eats, and the Gemara, the Torah Shas changes it that it's also to eat, not to taste. So meaning, if you're in your house and you're hungry and your animal hasn't eaten yet, your dog or your cat or your whatever, your fish, but you're hungry, so if you go with the gift of the Gemara, you're not even allowed to taste. If you go with the Mesaras Hashas's girsa, then you are allowed to taste some food. You just can't sit down to a meal, right? You just can't sit down to a meal before you feed your animals.
It didn't say Suda. It said Achlo. No.
Okay, yeah, I'm saying, but achila needs to be in a regular achila, right? But it's not te'ima, that's for sure. Okay, Hadron Alach Hanizakin. You're swimming and drinking, Jesse.
It's Hashem.
All right. Okay. L'chaim. Okay. Yes. He waited till after the Hadron to ask parrots.
Yeah.
He's learning.
Yeah.
I just checked up the Marshawn Brachas about Lichbel Shalom. The Marshawn says it's Derech Eretz. To be Kaifel Shalom.
It's not halacha.
No.
Yeah, but I think does Shulchan Aruch bring it in the Derech Eretz section in the end of Chelik Beis?
Yeah, I believe so, but I'm not sure he paskins that you have to do it. He brings it.
Remember what Simon? If you find the Simon, if you let me know, please. Yeah. Okay. Next parak on top of base.
So
right off the bat,
in the books about the Charbon, it brings mices from different people who Baruch Hashem saved because the Shegitz, it was the Mark Shemainik, he was his name. He used to say good morning to him, so he didn't kill him in Auschwitz. So there's a whole bunch of mices like that. So
yeah. I hear. Yeah, so you're supposed to do. You see, clear from the Gemara that you're supposed to greet Goyim. That's without a doubt. The only issue was to say shalom to them twice. That's the only issue.
Is there a more recent famous Maisa? Some one who worked in a factory and he said hello to the security guard every day.
Yeah,
he stuck in a freezer. He got stuck in an industrial freezer. And the guy said he didn't come out. You got to go check. So the guy that he said hello to every day saved his life because he said hello every day.
Oh yeah. I wish the Yidden would say hello to each other every day. Forget about the Goyim. Right? Yeah. Okay. So before we start the parak, so if you look, the Tosfos says that there's a big machlokes over which order of the prakim should be. Right? Some say that this parak doesn't belong here. It says V'yishami tana tiskabel achar hanizakin, which is what we have. Right? Ha'omer tiskabel v'achar misha achsu, and some, which is the next parak. Some say it's the parak is switched. Okay, it's just a matter of where you put the parak. So the first couple of blot are, which and maybe even more, but I just didn't get past that, is about shlichus, of making the man making a shliach to bring the get to the wife, the woman making a shliach to accept the get from the husband. When can they cancel the get? Can they cancel the shlichus? Can they not cancel the shlichus? Basically, can they do a return to sender? That type of thing, right? So let's see. So A guy says, Hiskabel gets ishti. Take this get from my wife. Now we're gonna have to see in the Gemara. How can a guy say that? How can a guy go to a shliach and say, "Take this get from my wife"? He's representing his wife. He can't represent his wife. He's saying to a guy, "Take this get for my wife." He could tell the guy, "Here's the get. Bring it to my wife." Fine. He cannot tell the guy, "Oh, you act as my wife. I'm going to give you the get." Like, what kind of baloney is that? That doesn't work, right? The wife has to make the shliach for her. The husband can't make a shliach for the wife. Okay, we have to see. We'll have to see in the Gemara what that means. Either Hiskabel gets the ishti, or a more standard case, I hailach gets the ishti, or take this get to my wife. So im ratzalach so yafsos. If he wants, he could take it back, right? So because he could say, okay, I don't want. Meaning until the get gets to the woman's hands, this guy could cancel the shlichus. But a woman who tells the shliach, go get my get, right? Right? Then if he wants to take it back, he can't. Right? Meaning, because she made the guy a shliach, or a girl, whatever it is, she made the shlichus in order for her to get divorced. Right?
So here we're talking where
back.
the get already got to her shliach's hand, right? The get
it already got to the shliach's hand. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, of course, it got to the shliach's hand. Yes. Lafika. So Mishnah says, therefore, if the husband says to the shliach, I don't want you to take the get for her. I want you to bring it to her straight. If he wants to go back on that, he can go back on that because he made the guy a shliach to bring it directly to his wife. Even if the lady says, the wife says, take the get for me, not tiskabel, right? Or hiskabel, not right. It's a different lashon. Even that's enough. Even though she didn't say accept it for me, she just said go get it for me. That's enough also that you can't go back. Right? Fine. So the Gemara asks. So the reason is because she didn't make the guy into a shliach to be makabelit. But if she made the guy a shliach to be makabelit, if he wants to change your mind, then he can't change your mind. So you see, right? We had this machlokes way back that it says that when you tell somebody to take the get, that's as if saying that you should be zaycha in it, and that should be your get. The Gemara says, no, that's not true. I'll tell you that when you tell somebody to take the get, it's not as if they're zaycha in the get for the woman, right? We need the case of to be makabel to get from a wife. That's what we need it for. I would have thought since the husband cannot make a shliach to be makabel to get, he's the giver. He cannot go be making a shliach for the wife to be makabel. The other, even though the get reached your hand, it shouldn't be a get. So we hear from this that no, what he meant is take the get and go. Right? So therefore since he said take the get and go, then right when the wife gets it, that's when it's going to become a get. I guess I should stop using gets it and use receive. Right? Otherwise a little too much. Fine. So I'm going to ask, a woman says, take my get, if the husband wants to stop, he can't stop. If the shliach already gets the get, receives the get, then he can't go back on it. My love, doesn't make a difference whether the terminology used was to accept it, or the terminology was used was to hailach, which means to send or to take. So when it says it's not going on that, it's not going on both, it's only going on the Kabbalah case. So the Gemara asks, Tashim Alafikach, Im Amralai Habal, I don't want you to makabel it. Ela hoylech v'tenla, go and bring my wife to get. Im ratzalasa yapsa. If he wants, he could change his mind. Time of Domer efshi. The reason is because he said he doesn't want it. Hola yomer efshi, but he didn't say efshi im ratzalasa ela yapsa. He wants to go back. He can't go back. Shmami no hoylech v'zachi dami. So we hear from this that since he can't go back on it, must be when he says hoylech, bring the get, is as if he's telling the shliach to be makabel for her. So he says, no, dilma behelech. He didn't say hoylech. He said helech, right? Which means, again, I'm no big Baal Diktuk, but it seems that it means that the get is for you. He didn't mean take hoylech, take the get to her. He says, this get is for you, right? And that's why he can't go back on it. But if he said hoylech, then maybe he could go back because hoylech is not the zacher. Fine. Okay, so that's that. Now the Gemara asks a different question. Pshita ish havishliach lahaylacha. A man could be a shliach to bring the get because it's the man making a man into a shliach. Shekain baal might look at lishter because a husband is supposed to bring the get to his wife. So Mamela, he can get a male. The husband is a male, and he can make a male into a shliach. The isha havishliach lekabala, and a woman can become the shliach to be makabel get. Why? She can isha makabela skita miyad baila, because a woman is the one can be makabel. The woman is the one that's makabel get from her husband. So since she's a female, so a female could be a shliach for a female. So that's what I'm saying. Pasha that a male could be a shliach for a male, and a female could be a shliach for a female. Okay, but ish lekabala va'isha lo'ilachamai. What about if we get some pretzes going over here? Right, we have some mixed shlichus. We have the man giving the woman a get; she becomes a shliach for him, and or she, the wife, makes a man into a shliach to accept her get. Meaning, do you have to have same gender shluchim?
Why?
Right?
So I'm asking you, what would be the issue here? What's the issue of halacha?
Well, shluch shadim kamaisai. You have to be kamaisai, or you can be kamaisa.
Yeah, well, it's sort of. Basically, the man is the giver. The man gives a get. A woman can only receive a get. A woman cannot give a get, right?
A woman, but why?
And a man can't receive a get. A man only gives a get. So therefore,
we can't. Why?
Because that's what the Torah says. The Torah says man gives get and woman receives get.
A man gives a get, but the woman is a shliach.
Correct, but maybe she's not in the parsha of giving. Meaning, can you make a cheres shayf to cut it into a shliach? No, because they're not in the chiyuv.
Can I give a dog a get to give to take to a third guy, the lady?
No, you can take the dog to if the dog is the delivery guy, so why not? But it's not going to be a get. It's not going to be a get until it reaches their hands. We're talking about you making a shliach to actually receive the get. You want to? Yeah, of course you can send the get with UPS.
Like attorney, Zev, it's a power of attorney.
Right. Meaning you can use UPSs to send the get. The get's not becoming a get until the woman opens up the box and sees that present waiting for her. Right? But we're talking about where you're giving it to a shliach, and the get becomes a kosher get when the shliach gets it, receives it. Right? So there, maybe a man is only the what?
He's only acting as an arm of the person.
Right. So the question is, do you have to be part of the chiyuv in order to act as that person's shliach?
Why do you?
Can I make a woman a shliach to? Can I make a woman? What would be a case? Can a woman have passion? Can a woman make havdalah for a man? Let's go with that.
Not lechatchila, but
why not?
Because she's not in the parsha.
She might not be chayiv in havdalah.
But that's being mitzi a chiyuv. This is not being mitzi chiyuv.
No,
this is not being mitzi.
It's the same thing. It's the same.
What
thing.
Does that mean? Can you give a single person?
She's divorced when the shliach gets it. She's divorced when the shliach gets it. She's not divorced when she gets it. That's what he's saying. If UPS is delivery, you have to wait for it to deliver.
To be a shliach, then
you can use shliach l'hilacha and shliach l'kabbalah. We're talking about shliach l'hilacha also. Shliach Lohilacha is a din shlichus. Even though it just to us seems like a messenger, he is a shliach. And in every din Torah, a shliach has to have shaykhs to the concept of what he's becoming a shliach on.
Could I send this?
Someone who hold on, Zev, hold on. Someone who has no shaykhs to the chiyuv of truma cannot become a shliach to take truma for you. That shlichus doesn't work. Shlichus only works when the shliach has shaykhs to the job that he's being sent to do. So this shaila is how far do we go with that? Every man and woman in Klal Yisrael has shaykhs to Gitten. But does he need to have shaykhs to the specific job or just to Gitten in general?
Okay.
Hey, what's the answer?
Well, that's the Gemara shaila. But David's asking a good question.
I was
Can a
pushing it
single
along.
person?
I'm pushing it along.
Can David's asking a good question? Could a single person be the shliach? Maybe they're not in the din of being makabel get because they're not married.
No,
but they have the achailus to be in that.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's l'chayra, right? That's l'chayra what it is. They're in the parsha of right.
Give him
anyways.
a chance. He'll get there. Give him a chance. He'll get there.
Okay, so
Siakji is saying the Saras or an islanders can't be a shliach for a get. That's what you just said.
L'chayra, that's a good point. L'chayra, right? Yeah, Saras or islanders cannot be. Yeah, 100%. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Ish, the source, the words to know is ish l'kabbalah, va'isha lahilacha. A man to be makabel, and a woman to bring it. What's the din? The Tashima Haimer is kabel get to ishti, be makabel is get to my wife. I heard of get to ishti or bring it and write to lasa yachsa. Ha'isha shamr is kabel likiti, and if the woman says be makabel im rata lasa lo yachsa. Now, my la bechad shliach. We're talking about one shliach here, meaning the guy's trying to. We're talking about the same guy. We're talking about the same guy. It's just a matter of who's making him into a shliach. Him, her, both, right? But they're both using the same shliach. So you see that they could both use a male or a female, whichever it was. So when it says, no, we're not talking about where it was one shliach. Each one was appointing their own shliach. Him a male, her a female. Okay, so Tashima, we said if the husband says to the shliach, I don't want you to be makabel for my wife, go bring it to her, if he wants to go back, he go back. Here it's for sure one shliach, right? Because we're talking about the husband talking to the wife's shliach. So you see that a shliach who's kosher to take a get can also bring it. Fine. So the Gemara says, great. Pashut mina ish havi shliach l'kabbalah. So now, okay, we proved that a man could take the get on behalf of the wife. The kain av makabel get the bita ketana, because a father can be makabel get for his daughter. Right? We know that interesting din that a man can marry off his daughter when she's less than 12 to whoever he wants. He also can accept a get on her behalf. Now he's a man. How could he accept a get? So you see clearly a man can be a shliach to be makabel. But you still have the question: can a woman be a shliach to bring a get to another woman? So what's the din? Right. So the Gemara says, Amar Amari Toshma Afanashim Shein Namonis Leimer Meisbaila. Even women who are not neman to say that their husband died, which is, remember, those are the big five, right? A mother-in-law, mother-in-law's daughter, a tzara, meaning co-wife, and a yavama, and the stepdaughter. None of them are believed to say that the guy died because they don't like each other. So maybe they have negiyas. So their mothers will have a but they are trusted to bring a get. Right? So you clearly see that they were talking about the man sending one of these women to be the shliach, and we believe them, right? Meaning these five ladies are normally not believed to say that the husband died because we're afraid they're doing it to get at this the women that they hate. But they are believed to bring a get and say, by the way, this get is from your husband. That they're believed to do. So you see clearly that they're being shluchim on behalf of a man to bring a get to a woman. So Amar Ravashi, that's good. No, right, no. So Amar Ravashi, Sefer Nami Shamasle. You could also hear from the Sefer of the Mishnah. The Tani Sefer, Isha Atma V'Yas Gita. A woman herself can bring a get for herself. Meaning the Sefer not here, the Sefer way back. I don't remember where it was earlier in the Masechta. A woman could be her own shliach to bring her own get to herself. Meaning a husband could be in Chutz La'aretz. It was a weird case. Husband's in Chutz La'aretz. He tells his wife, take this get, bring it to Eretz Yisrael, and then when you get to Eretz Yisrael, you're going to be makabel to get. The Gemara goes through all these different variations of exactly what that means. But the bottom line is, she's her own shliach. And what type of shliach is she? She's a shliach to bring the get to herself. So you see, it's a female who's being a shliach to bring a get to a female. And we're talking about where she's bringing it on behalf of the husband. So you see that a woman can be a shliach for the woman. So Shema Mino, we learn from this both ways that a woman could be a shliach on behalf of the man, and a man could be a shliach on behalf of the woman, and then it's pretty clear cut that that's mutter. Fine. Okay, stop over there. A good vach, a good year.
Jaco, you sent me the first part?
Yeah. I'll send it to you now.
What's the baby's name?
Oh yeah, Taco. What's the baby's name? I don't even know. Did he name yesterday?
Who?
Today.
Mordechai's baby.
He named it on Thursday.
So what's the baby's
What
name?
was the name? I forgot to ask.
Something Udul. Something Udul.
Udul?
Something Udul. Yeah, Udul something. I'll look it up.
What?
Yiddish name like that.
Okay,
Peretz, where were you? Peretz, where were you?
I went to mommy. I tried to log in on mommy's phone, but you have all the two-factor authentication, so I had to get it on my phone. Then I logged into the email, which says we sent you a text message. I didn't have my phone, so mom was like, I'm naked.
So Rabbi Stein, I had someone over for lunch, and they were asking a question about doing pashlich on Yontiv with throwing bread into the water. Is it an issue feeding fish on Yontiv?
Yeah, it is. It's not preferable. Everybody does it, but it's not preferable. No, you really should. It's really. I'm not going to say something that a lot of people in Klal Yisrael do is also, but it shouldn't be done.
If you saw one of us doing it, you would say, maybe not.
I think if he saw you do it, tashlich on Shavuos, there's other issues.
Liba Udol.
We're going to start conversation. Gershon. Oh, what they do?
I'm here. What?
Oh, the Marshal on our Gemara here tells us to go to the Marshal in Brachas. Yeah. Okay.
I told you, I looked at the Marshal in Brachas.
Yeah, maybe you must have, but
I skipped that step.
Why are they fighting over here with the Tukim? So I looked and I said, okay, that is fine. Okay.
I went the other way. The Gillian, Ricky Vega pointed to Brachas Vavim based on the Marshal.
Oh yeah, the Ksav is too small for my eyes. So went to the Marshal over here and told the Marshal over there.
I gotta find where what says exactly.